Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. Today we're going to talk about the solution to a long-term mystery here at Giga Texas, and it involves a cross-country trip all the way over to Giga Nevada. So let's take a look. Beginning 20 months ago in November of 2023, I started noticing some deliveries of very large items that looked like they were related to stamping presses. And about the 2nd or 3rd of December, I noticed those first deliveries here wrapped in blue. They were very large, very heavy, and they started to accumulate over the next several days. This is showing more of those parts being delivered, and I was watching them all through the rest of the 2023 and well into 2024, trying to figure out where these were going to be installed in the factory, since there was no obvious location for these, and if they were stamping machine parts, was trying to also figure out what these might be for. So it continued to be a mystery for some time. Now, right at the end of October 2024, things began to change as I saw a lot of activity in and around these items. The blue wrapping material had been removed, and it looks like they were doing some maintenance on these items. Now, of course, this gave us a great opportunity to see what was underneath all of the wrappings and get a better idea of what the equipment looks like. With these series of images, it gives us that great close-in view, high resolution of what some of these items look like. These were, looks like maintenance was being done to prepare them for long-term storage, which really did not make a lot of sense to me at that time. Of course, this is back in November 2024, so almost a year ago from today. So the mystery continued, even though we got a great view of all of these items. As the crews finished up the maintenance, they applied this very heavy-duty brown wrapping material on all of the items, and as you can tell by February 2025, this is what it appeared like. Now, these items sat in this long-term storage configuration through April, May, and June. No real movement, and I was kind of hoping to see something so we could tell what part of the factory they were going into and what products they would be supporting. But really nothing happened until the 4th of July, when I saw this crane and activity with preparing for movement. However, it was very obvious by the 7th of July that these items were being put onto these heavy lift transport trailers, and this was going to be for movement across the country and not into the factory. So that mystery remained, but we were able to find out for sure very quickly where these were headed, and thanks to Zangler, who does drone flights over Giga Nevada, about 4 days later, these started arriving over at that factory and for use with the semi-production. So I'll let Zangler talk about his discovery.
The gantry crane from Griffin, that a partner with Tesla that has also been used at Texas, at Giga Texas, is we saw it being assembled last video, and now we see it fully assembled and being put into action. Loading a heavy piece of production equipment. Could it be a stamping press? Could it be the stamping press from Giga Texas that was spotted by Joe Tegmeyer and his viewers? For those of you who may know, is this the truck that was seen in Texas a couple days ago? Look at this truck. This is a specialty truck with 3 drive axles. I'm not sure that they all are drive axles, but look at those 3 axles behind the cab. Heavy duty trailer, and look at all the wheels behind it at the rear of the trailer.
Thanks to Zangler for those video clips and showing us where all these items are headed. Now, of course, work here at Giga Texas continues to prepare all these items for shipping, and more of them have been loaded up to these heavy lift trucks, and I expect them to be delivered out at Giga Nevada within a week. So we'll continue to watch this as all of these items depart from Giga Texas, arrive out at the semi-manufacturing plant. And this is great news for those who are looking forward to the semi-production ramping up. This is going to happen through the rest of this year, and we already know that they are planning for a ramp of that production in 2026, up to about 50,000 semis. So this is great news, and it's kind of a collaboration between Giga Texas and Giga Nevada. So with that, let's get the drone in the air. Let's fly around and see what else is going on here at Giga Texas today. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, good morning from the east side of Giga Texas, looking back towards the factory. Of course, in the middle of the screen is this large material staging yard with a lot of the steel corrugated pipes for the underground water management system, but of course some more pipes and other items that have been fabricated on the workshops behind the drone in the east side. This is for a new system that they mentioned in the environmental report for 2024 that's going to try to harvest more of that waste heat energy and use it throughout the factory. So that'll be something that I'll continue to watch as that develops, and I'll try to give you some additional details about that in a future video. But as we fly over the parking garage, I wanted to get closer to the east side of Giga Texas and see what's going on this side of the factory. Of course, much of the activity is with these temporary platforms all along the side of the factory. This is where they have been building in a lot more production lines and capabilities. One of the temporary platforms is very busy here. You can tell that on the ground is another robotic assembler, and then they have some other items that are up on top of the platform itself. And we've been seeing several of these over the last couple of days being put up onto this platform and moved inside. And another great shot also of that trash chute so that they can do the unwrapping and bring all that excess material out and then put it into that bin for recycling. As we continue to fly to the north, I'll keep the zoom in and kind of get a better idea of what is going on here. Now, next to this temporary platform on the left-hand side of the screen, we can see some, looks like wooden crates with plastic on them and some other items that are getting ready to be installed. More castings on the ground in the rack mounts, and looks like there's some additional work on the baghouse filtration plant today with that blue man lift and the work that is going on up next to that large pipe. And a good look at the melt plant. But the big thing that I wanted to point out is here in this north casting handling yard, this equipment and crated items that have been delivered very recently. I'll try to give you a zoom in here through the power lines just to get a better idea of what this looks like. And it looks like there's some additional brown items that may be either racking systems or I'm not sure exactly what. It's next to the white casting rack mounts. And just again, more equipment being delivered in this area. We'll probably see some of that going up on those platforms and in other parts of the factory as they continue to build out that production capability. Turning around, I wanted to show the work on the construction site up to the north. Everything from the electrical switch yard expansion on the left, Cortex 2, the die shop, and the battery cathode plant. Also, these trailers that are in final preparation to move all the temporary offices from just north of the Tesla Road to here so they can allow more of that construction to continue. The concrete vault items are still waiting here for their turn to be installed in that new construction zone around the Cortex 2. And as I maneuver over the east warehouse on wheels, just give you a nice view at this complex of structures that continues to grow and is looking more and more finished by the day. On the ground is that section where Tesla Road will be expanded and some of the steel corrugated pipe to tie in that underground water management system. Of course, with all the rains, we've had a chance to see how well that system is working throughout the entire site, and it has been working very well. Looking back towards the main factory across the east warehouse on wheels, we can also get a good sense of some of the materials, the workshops, and other equipment items here on this far east side. And I'll turn back towards the east side of the battery cathode plant. We're going to fly along here first, stopping at this field kitchen, which is at the bottom of the screen. And that is persisting a lot longer than I had originally expected. Of course, the crash test facility has been very busy lately. And this is what it looks like here today. Many of the crashed vehicles stored on that west side black fence. And then this also gives you an idea of that test track with that broken up concrete on the east side. Looks like there's a Cybertruck near there. Maybe they're going to do some testing with that, and some additional vehicles on the north end that have recently been tested. As I pirouette the drone around and look back towards the battery cathode plant, the bottom of the screen is that cell testing lab and more of the steel corrugated pipe and connecting segments. And again, this is all going to help tie in all of that new construction zone to that filtration pond that we just flew over. Nice look up to the northeast with all of the dirt and some of the materials here as this site continues to develop. And as we turn back, a nice look towards the main factory across all of these structures, and a good sense of what is going on today. Now, we had some rains recently. You can see that in the dirt section where they've kind of have some of those driveways and also the water on the ground. And even today after I flew, another rainstorm came through. So a very unusually rainy summer here for Central Texas. However, a good view with the kind of the wet dirt here of the work that's being done with this bulldozer and this expanded section of the construction site. You can see that silt fence next to the tree line on the left of the screen. I'll bring the drone back down a little lower and we'll get a closer view of what's going on with Cortex 2 itself. Of course, the new stairs on the right. And here the steel studs for the exterior walls have now reached the north corner on this west side. And we'll fly along this entire side and just see the work that is underway with installing those blue panels and then the seam sealer, the final kind of texturized coating, and then eventually that will be stained white to match the main factory, and then they'll have a surface treatment to make it look like it's concrete panels to kind of blend in with the rest of the architecture around Giga Texas. Another one of these temporary platforms and stairs for them to get up onto the roof. And we also see some work around the parapet wall to kind of blend it in with the roof line. Over at the die shop, we see one of these center dump trucks, but not really a lot of activity into this west door. And as we come back, some more of the final preparation here with this kind of teal bluish colored treatment. And that's for the seam sealer ahead of that texturized coating. And this is a nice view of that parapet wall to roof interface and how that is coming along. So we're going to continue around this south side and we'll resume the narration on the west side of the Cortex 2. Nice look back here of that final coating color and that texture that we talked about. There's also some vents that are visible in that wall section. And of course, along this entire section, we see all various stages of preparing these wall segments for that final appearance. More of the receiving doors and also just doorways and maybe even some windows are starting to be apparent as well. So as we get to this northern part of the site, I'll bring the drone back up to a little bit higher altitude and let's take a look at what is going on across this flooded water detention pond and at the section of land that is graded and prepared for the electrical switchyard expansion. This is a very good view at this lower altitude across what this section looks like now. And hopefully we'll start seeing that construction of the proper part of the electrical switchyard soon. But the big focus right now is this south end underground vault. In my previous video, we saw them pouring some of the concrete here on this west side. The concrete has now cured. They're removing the forms and preparing the roof segment for rebar. In addition to that, they're going to move the forms to this middle section. They'll repeat that pour, and then they'll do most likely one more to get the entire thing completed. And this is just a really nice shot with the lighting of how that is coming together. I wanted to bring the drone down very low and show you the stakes that have been placed in this kind of darker ground material. And this is what this looks like. Usually this indicates that there's some sort of construction that may be taking place, perhaps marking where there could be, say, footings. Not really sure, so that'll be something I will continue to monitor. I'm pretty sure that there's some experts out there that will be able to leave comments in my video and let me know exactly what that is, so I appreciate that. Work on the Megapack 2 continues. And you can see that near where that north control trailer is, a lot of the workers showing up to begin that operations today. And then here with the tents, more workers are doing some cable installation and completing that work to connect the Megapacks and the transformers along that central cable tray up to that control trailer. So I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude. Let's pass over the power lines and get a little closer to the north end of the main factory. What I do want to show you here is a couple of interesting items. First is just what this material staging yard looks like for the castings and all those new box materials on the left. On the bottom of the screen, we can see that new security fence that is being added along the grass line here, and the cyber berm where they still have to do some of the stain work here on this tip of the berm, but also as I maneuver the drone around, we'll see where they've been doing the repair work to prepare this entire berm for a restaining. And there was some cracks in the concrete that has been repaired, and we'll see that stain work continuing very soon. Now we've crossed over the highway. I'm going to turn back towards this section where we've seen the earthwork done, the preparation for the ground, and now some more of these transport trucks. These have been here for some time. Looks like a few of them may be out working with delivery of vehicles, but most of them are still just waiting here. And I'm very interested to see how these are going to be used and if these are for an expected uptick in production, perhaps of the new vehicle, perhaps something else. But it is interesting to see the number of transport trucks stored here. As we fly to the south, this is a great view of more of the materials that are being stored here. Much of this is steel items, and this has been used inside the factory to create those new mezzanines and extra floors of where they are putting in a lot of the production equipment to extend the production capacity. All of the Evapco fan units and base units, plus the associated hardware, still hasn't really changed much. And this has been here for several years now. And I want to see it move sometime so I can show you what is going on. A couple of Cybertrucks supervising this smaller material staging yard and welding shop. And of course, this material staging with the two tents, some of the containers, and some additional items. This is what it looks like here today. Some of the red items may be production equipment. I'm not really sure. And it looks like some more pipe segments on these racks on the right-hand side of the screen. A good view of the tents. Haven't seen a lot of activity in the tents, so I'm not sure if they are just sitting there not used or what the situation is. So I'm going to cross back over the highway and we'll resume flying to the south on this side of the main factory. A couple things that I did notice. One is they are lifting more equipment onto this platform, and inside there's some on the flatbed truck we see at the bottom right of the screen. We've seen a lot of staircases being lifted up there very recently, and that is most likely to tie into the mezzanine levels that have been added to increase the number of floors up to 4 in that section. The work on the berm with the trenching, trench boxes, and preparation for the pipes to be installed continues. And it is pretty much from this side of the flagpoles all the way down to the south, and we'll see the rest of this later on in the video. Nice look at the flags back at full staff after the weekend where they were at half-mast to honor the flood victims of Central Texas area. As we zoom in here, this is where Model Ys are exiting the factory. In fact, another one is doing so. We have another couple at the ground level. One of them looks like it's being driven by a human. And the other one is coming out of the factory in blue, driving autonomously to go over to the end-of-line facility for further processing. And another nice view of some of the displays here at the base of the flagpoles. And just a really pretty day with the type of day that I'm flying and the lighting that is available. So I'm going to prepare to cross back over the highway and take a look at what's going on the other side. We can see more of the vehicles, both Model Ys and Cybertrucks, driving into these 4 lanes autonomously from the factory. I like the red color. That is a very pretty color that Tesla has. And we see some more of the Model Ys arriving that had just driven over from the main factory. And as we continue to pan the drone around, we can see that other vehicles are arriving here next to the test track. The Tesla Semi is being charged back up again. On my previous video, we did see it at work. It was bringing one of the warehouse on wheels containers or trailers, and it was delivering that over to the general assembly line. So they are using the Semi here in some capacity. I just hope that we see a lot more of them very soon. As you can tell, it's early on a Monday. Many of the vehicles that were here over the weekend have been transported off-site, and now we're starting up that production again. So I'll expect over time to see this filling back up this week. This is a nice view of the variety of vehicles that are here and the transport trucks that are getting ready to start picking them up and moving them off-site. In fact, the truck in the center top left of the screen is one of those that we saw at the north end that has been here for some time, and it looks like they are in fact using them for transportation. Nice look at the superchargers and the activity here today. And to take advantage of the lighting and just to get a good sense of what is going on with the materials that are stored here, I'll just point the drone to the west, a nice view of downtown where I was riding robo-taxis through that enlarged service area today. And I will have some additional videos on that, but it was really a great experience. Back here at Giga Texas, just taking a look at the transformers, some of the other materials here in this smaller fenced off section. And as I maneuver the drone around, we'll see activity in this section where a lot of the production equipment has been stored. It is starting to be moved into the factory. And this shows a little of that activity with this particular section of the material staging yard. Looks like also some maintenance on a vehicle may be underway. And you can see that flatbed with some spare tires and the work to replace that tire. The materials here, as I zoom in, is what we talked about in the video intro. These, I believe, are stamping press items that have been stored here for just over 20 months. Now they are being prepared to be moved to Giga Nevada. And we've seen some of that already arriving out there, as we talked about in the intro. And more of this is being prepared for that shipping. This is what that activity level looks like here today with the gentleman in blue nearby. That gives you a great sense of the scale of these items. And with the heavy lift trailers that we've seen them being loaded onto, we know that they are quite heavy. But I'll continue to move around here, show you in the zoom in what this area looks like, and of course zoom back out for the overall view. And we'll continue to track this and see how fast these are loaded up and moved off site. I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude. We'll fly along the power lines, looking to the south at this material staging yard with more of the steel items. Of course, that very large white tent light structure, more of the transformers, steel, and other items, and we'll get closer view of that here momentarily. This large clearing continues to be used for areas for dirt storage, and also with this gray material, the spoils that are coming out of the tunnel that is being drilled under the Colorado River for that water intercept system. And you can clearly see the difference in the color, but also the materials as they are drilling significantly below the river and into a different kind of material. As we get closer to this material staging yard, I wanted to give you a better look at all of the items that are being delivered and stored here, some in green wrapping, some in blue. We can see some white parts sticking out on the longer ones here at the bottom left. And as we get in closer, you can see not only crates, but kind of aluminum foil-like wrapped items. And this is generally associated with production equipment, and not sure what part of the line this will be, but this is just a really great view, as close in as I can, of these deliveries, the crates, and maybe some of the outlines of what the items are underneath that silver wrap. But hopefully we'll see them moved into the factory here soon. That'll give us a better idea of where exactly those are headed and what their purposes are. As we continue to fly back towards the factory, I'll stay at this lower altitude, show you the two items that have been loaded up on this trailer. These will be getting ready to hit the road and travel across country over to Giga Nevada. And some people asked, well, these trailers are different than the ones that we see at Giga Nevada. It's possible that these are just being sent to a centralized location and either put onto a trailer for delivery by truck, or maybe they're being put on rail as well. Nearby, we see many of the trucks lined up, most likely bringing some additional equipment that will be unloaded here soon. Nice view as we get higher of the west warehouse on wheels, the end of line, and the outbound lot in the top left of the screen. The work here for the caissons and those concrete segments. And as we cross over the highway, a nice view here from the south, looking to the north across the factory, the Cyber Pond, and River Road at the bottom of the screen. Now I'm going to keep the drone up, fly over the power lines, and just give you a general look at what this section of the site looks like here today near the cooling plant that you can see in the center of the screen. And then I bring the drone back down for a better look at this south end, where additional work is being done on either side of that central tunnel, and where that gravel mix item is next to the windows. And of course, more of that is being done here on the third tunnel. As I kind of pirouette back towards the southwest corner, this shows some of the materials that are being put into the dumpster after they are being unwrapped for additional installation inside the factory. And looks like another truck is getting ready to deliver some more items into this part of the factory. As we kind of turn towards the north, fly to the north along the west side, a couple of things that I want to show you. First is just this window line, also the drive path underneath. The Cybertruck is coming out today, and that is pretty neat to see. I think they're still using the tunnel as well, but that one was for some reason driving through that underground or under the building drive path. Here's another view of the southerly part of the berm work. Some of the pipes that are arrayed for installation, some gravel that has been brought, and some additional work to begin the trenching to connect all of this together at some point, and then tie in near where the south caisson is located. But a great view of this work that is continuing on this side of the site. So that'll be it for today. I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude and we'll take a look at the factory from the south end, looking across it all the way to the north. As always, thank you very much for watching. I do very much appreciate your support, and I hope you have a great week coming up. And just remember, the 23rd is going to be the second quarter financial results meeting here at Giga Texas. Take care.